What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris Moore, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about the differences between a GSXR and a Hayabusa. Basically, a leader bike versus a big bike, a Busa versus the GSXR. But first, before we get into today's video, I want to let you guys know I sold my CVO RR. She is going bye-bye today. We're going to be loading it up, delivering it to the customer. He's actually a local guy here in South Carolina that's going to be taking ownership of the CVO RR. In just a second, I'm going to tell you my real opinions on the CVO RR and let you know what I thought about my short time of ownership with it. Stay with us, guys. Here we go. Alright, so let's get down into business and the real talk about the CVO RR. For those of you who did not see the videos or don't know what this thing is, this is a $110,000 all carbon fiber Harley Davidson that they have made as a replica / clone of their Moto America road race bike. So this thing was built and intended basically to go around a road course, not something a normal Harley Davidson would do. It does / did a very good job at it. Is the thing fast? No. For a Harley, yes, it is fast. It made 140 horsepower. We got the dyno videos and we show the power it has, but real life, guys, 140,000 here versus 20,000, 30,000 hours over there, there's no comparison. I mean, we did some videos. They were kind of what I would call parody videos. We raced it with Big Country on the Ducati Panigale V2. We said it was a V4 in the video. We were just cutting up, having fun, really poking at the Ducati owners, but it was a V2. In my opinion, Ducati V2, if you got one of them things, dude, let me go ahead and tell you, that thing is slow, okay? This thing is slower. So the V2, I would say, is pretty comparable to, like, maybe a little bit better than a GSXR 750. But the Harley would jump out in front of it, and then, of course, the V2 would pretty much instantly want to drive back around it. But a real leader bike or something like this thing would tear this bike up. Now, as far as handling goes, how does it truly handle compared to something like a sport bike? It does very good. The handling, the braking, all that stuff is extremely good. I would say it's about like a stock Hayabusa. Now, not this Hayabusa. It's going to handle better than this one because this one is lowered and stretched and all that stuff. But as far as going in a turn, I mean, it does good like a big heavy sport bike would, you know, such as a Busa ZX14, something like that. So overall, Harley has got a lot of high dollar parts on it. I truly do feel like the bike is worth the money that it cost because of all the attention to detail in all the parts. I mean, this stuff is very expensive stuff, guys. So they did a really good job putting it all together. But is it worth it? It wasn't worth it for me, boys. I had to move her. Luckily, I did pretty good with the bike on the resale side. But we're going to put that money back into another toy. So let's get to what we're actually here to talk about. What are the differences between a Hayabusa and a leader bike? All right, guys, so we're going to be looking at our giveaway Hayabusa compared to our giveaway GSXR 1000. Then we're going to be looking at a bone stock Hayabusa versus a bone stock GSXR 1000. So let's talk about the stock ones first, and then we'll talk about the modified ones, okay? Because stock, I mean, a lot of you may buy them and leave them stock, but a lot of you are going to want to modify them, and that changes the bikes a bunch. So out of the box, let's start with the GSXR 1000. They make about 165 horsepower to the tire. So you see advertisements in magazines, brochures, websites, whatever. You see these things rated at 200 horsepower. Well, that is rated at the crankshaft, not the tire, and they also don't really calculate in on the restrictions. In my opinion, straight up bogus information. Every bike manufacturer there is, they do it. It's not right. I don't really know why they even do it like that, but whatever. 165 horsepower is about what you get out of a 1000 out of the box. 175 horsepower is about what you get out of a Busa out of the box. Okay, so you're like, they're rated pretty close to the same. Busa about 10 more horsepower. Now, keep in mind, a Hayabusa will make about 105 foot-pounds of torque. A GSXR 1000 from the factory, 76, 77, somewhere around in there. So, way more torque on the Busa, way less torque on the 1000, but the horsepowers are pretty equally the same. Well, torque is needed for the Busa. The Busa weighs 150 pounds more from the factory. So it comes in weighing around 575 from the factory as it sits there, and this weighs about 425. So 150 pound weight difference. That's, I'm not gonna say always gonna be there because you can lighten them up a lot, but it's definitely always gonna be heavier than a 1000 or any other leader bike. Let's say the way they make power, okay? So a GSXR 1000, the horsepower is going to rev to 14,500 RPMs from the factory, where a Busa is only going to rev to about 11,000 RPMs from the factory. GSXR 1000s, they're going to hit, or basically leader bikes, they're going to hit really hard and scream from 10,000 RPMs to redline. Where a Hayabusa, they're going to, I guess you would say, come on strong at 5,000 or 6,000 RPMs, and they're going to pull hard to about 10,000. So the power curve is way different. A Busa at 3,500 RPMs, you hit the gas, it throws your head back. A GSXR 1000 or a leader bike at 3,500 RPMs, you hit the gas, it pretty much just makes a little more noise. They just feel totally different. Now, as far as feels totally different, that's going in a straight line. When you hit the corners, that 150 pounds weight difference is insane on the leader bikes. Handling a million times better. So if you're wanting to corner hard, drag your knees, stuff like that, a leader bike is the only way to go. If you want comfort, if you want the great big seat, which you get on a Busa, nice big cushy, everything you could want for comfort, you cannot go wrong with a Hayabusa. This thing also has cruise control, traction control, wheelie control, has all the cool features. The leader bikes, they got a lot of that stuff too. Now, the GSXR 1000 does not have cruise control. Other brands in the leader bikes, they do have cruise control, such as the ZX10 and the BMW S1000. They have those features, the GSXR, and just a little on the older technology side, it does not have it. That brings us to another thing too that's often brought up. The BMW S1000, 6, 7, 8 years ago, it was far superior to the Japanese bikes. In other words, they didn't come with any restrictions like the Japanese bikes did. Why, I don't really know, but they didn't have the restrictions and the throttle limitations, all the stuff that the Japanese bikes did. Now, the Japanese bikes have caught up with them power-wise. If you do a tuned S1000 with a full exhaust and an air filter, it's going to make about 189, 190 horsepower on my dyno. You do a tuned Suzuki, a tuned ZX10, a tuned Yamaha, they make about 185 to 190. You know what I mean? So they're all pretty similar power-wise. Just the cost of ownership is much, much less on the Suzuki. All right, so enough about the stock ones. Let's talk about the modified ones. These are our current giveaway bikes. So somebody is going to go on moremafia.com. They're going to pick themselves up some merchandise from the website, and they're going to have the potential chance to win this GSXR 1000 that we're showing, and or this Hayabusa, and they come with $5,000 in cash. Now, we've done a lot of things to lighten these bikes up, make them as light as possible, and they make crazy horsepower as well. Starting with the GSXR 1000, this bike made over 190 horsepower on 93 octane pump gas. How did we get that? Well, we got, in my opinion, the best exhaust system you can buy for this platform. That's the Brock's Performance CT single full titanium exhaust with this longer muffler. This particular exhaust, of course, was picked out by me because I have dynoed every combination of exhaust that you can possibly think of. This one right there makes the most horsepower. Now, I get a lot of people and they're like, yeah, I want to get my bike to make 190 horsepower. I did this, but I got this and this instead. Well, I'm like, well, you ain't gonna make 190 horsepower. And they're like, why? And I said, well, let's just think if you were baking cookies right now and you didn't have a couple ingredients for the recipe. You were missing this white stuff. It's called sugar. But you had this other white stuff that looks just alike. It's called salt. How do you think your cookies would taste? Same way this stuff goes when you're building these bikes, guys. This stuff is a recipe, a combination, and if you want the best, you gotta get all the right stuff. So, how do we put this power to the ground? We have got a DME swing arm that is stretched approximately 4 inches of extra wheelbase. So this is gonna keep our front tire from coming up when we nail the gas, which from the factory, these things are wheelie crazy. Over 100 miles per hour, they're still wheeling with 190 horsepower. So tons of power there. You know, we got to be able to put it to the ground. That extra 4 inches means a lot. Ask your girlfriend. So anyways, we got Vortex lightweight sprockets, 520 chain conversion. So we've got a skinnier, lighter weight, but stronger than stock chain on that thing. That's going to reduce the rotating weight. The less rotating weight we have, the more horsepower we can make. It just makes the tire easier to turn from the engine. So basically, if you were pushing the motorcycle and it had 2 flat tires versus 2 pumped up tires, you're pushing it, you use way more energy to push it with a, I guess you would say, a heavier flat tire combination versus something that rolls nice and easy. Speaking of rolls nice and easy, we got worldwide ceramic bearings in these things. These ceramic bearings are something that you have no clue how much difference they can make until you get on a bike and push it back and forth that has them. Everything about it just turns so much easier than stock. Now, another thing that you probably noticed that looks way different is there is no rear brake. So rear brakes, they slow your bike down. They don't necessarily stop your bike, especially when you stretch it or if you stretch it very long. If you stretch it very long, like this bike, you're definitely not gonna do anything with a rear brake. If you hit the rear brake hard on this bike, it's just gonna slide the tire. You're not gonna actually slow down or stop. So rear brakes weigh about 10 pounds. We get rid of those right off the bat. And this is for, I guess you would say, a race purpose. But either way, it shows off the wheel really good, and once you get used to it after a day or two, it rides much, I guess you say it rides just fine without the rear brake. We also delete one of the front brakes. Now, a lot of you are like, Chris, you got 3 brakes to start with, now you got 1 brake. How is that smart? Well, with the 1 front brake, there's still enough stopping power to slide the tire. If you can slide the tire, that's all the tire is physically capable of. In other words, the motorcycle can't stop any quicker without the tire sliding. So we can slide it with 1 brake. That's all we need. Another thing on this particular motorcycle, you will see the titanium header's really easy there, where from the factory you have a oil cooler. Now this is another race application thing that we do. This gets off about another 10 pounds of weight getting rid of that oil cooler. So when we get rid of that, that's just lighter weight. Same thing with the headlight. This has a race application headlight. Can you see at night? Yeah, you can. Can you see as good as the stock one? No, you can't. But it's about 5 pounds lighter getting rid of that. So all in all these things we have done have taken off about 60 to 70 pounds from this factory combination. Now, if this bike had 165 horsepower and this bike had 165 horsepower, this bike would absolutely run off and leave it, just due to the fact that it can use all 165 horsepower for the whole amount of time that you hold the throttle wide open. And what I mean by that is if you're wide open and your bike is wheeling, then your traction control is either having to kick in or wheelie control is having to kick in to reduce the power to put the front end back down, or you have to let off the gas. If you hit the gas wide open and the bike doesn't wheelie, doesn't spin, and the traction control doesn't have to kick in, then the bike is going to be much, much faster. Let alone the 70 pounds of weight difference is huge. All right, so that's everything basically with the 1000. So now let's talk about the Busa. Even this modified Busa that we're giving away looks way different from the modified GSXR we're giving away. This length that this bike is, basically the 4 inches over stock, this is perfect for the street / highway. So if you're wanting to do street pulls, this length right there, that is absolutely ideal. That's going to get good traction on the street and just want to wheelie just a little bit. Now this, on the other hand, is set up more for the drag strip. This is 74 inches of wheelbase. So when we say that, we mean from this axle to that axle. And that's 74 inches, that's the distance in between. So from the factory, a Busa is 58 inches. So for all you mathematicians out there, how far is this one stretched? So we got this thing also lightened up a ton as well as lengthened a ton. And you can see right off the rip how we got it so much lighter. For one, we got a new gas tank with a 2.5 gallon fuel cell. So this tank will hold 2.5 gallons of gas. Busa gonna get approximately 30 miles to the gallon. So it's gonna get you, let's just say 75 miles to a tank of gas. Now, if you're racing, 75 miles is a long way just to go from spot to spot. But if you're wanting to joyride all day, this tank is not ideal. Now, another thing too, both of these bikes have Montgomery Motorsports carbon fiber seats. They come with the regular seats. That's no big deal. Of course, nobody's going to want to ride it around town with these on there. This is a race-only carbon fiber seat. They get you your body position a lot lower. So one of the things with the gas tank is look how much lower the center of gravity is. So if you were laying on the tank, you're way, way lower with this Montgomery tank because the fuel cap, basically the gas cap, is below the steering stem. So you can see from here to here, you know, it's pretty much straight angle. To where we go over here to the stock one, you see the gas tank is way above the steering stem right here, this little nut. So you're gonna be humped up, arched over, long story short, not gonna be able to get your head behind the windshield like you could on this bike. But this bike also has BST carbon fiber wheels, which are about $4,500 with the worldwide ceramic wheel bearings in them. They are real carbon fiber. They are 100% safe to ride on the street. You can ride them all day, every day, and not have any issues. Another thing this bike has got, Penske aftermarket rear shock. So this shock is going to give us much more adjustability that we have to have now that our swing arm is this long. So our pivot point is right here, and it takes a much stiffer spring now that we have a much longer swing arm to support the weight in the middle. So the shock is dialed in for this long swing arm that this bike has. The long swing arm has given us the ability to launch much harder off the line. So at the drag strip, when we go to throw all the power to it all at one time, we want to be able to take off as hard as possible, as fast as possible. This long swing arm is what makes that happen. Another thing that makes that happen is the clutch in this bike. The clutch is right here. It has a Brock's Performance backdated clutch mod. Basically, the Gen 3 has a stock factory clutch system that you cannot slip. So it's going to hit a certain point, and it's basically just going to lock up and engage. We don't want that for drag racing. We want to be able to control that launch all the way out. So we want to be able to slip the clutch as much as possible, as smooth as possible. However long the bike is basically the shorter the bike, the farther you may have to slip the clutch. The longer the bike is, like this one, you may be able to get a quick release, something like that. Either way, we want it to be as smooth as possible, and that is a must-have item if you're going to drag race one of these Gen 3 Busas. Now, another thing that this bike has is it has a fully automatic shift system. So this is right here from RSR. It also has the stock quick shifter, so if you're just riding around town, you want to use your quick shifter, just like the stock bike. Boop, boop, boop. You got clutchless upshifts and downshifts, so just push down, boom, boom, boom. Your quick shift or your auto blipper is going to work. If you're drag racing, you'll pump up your air shifter back here. You'll literally launch the bike, hold it wide open, and when it gets to 11,000 RPMs or whatever RPMs is programmed at, boom, it's going to shift gears automatically for you. You don't got to push a button. You don't have to do anything. You just hold her wide open, keep it pinned, and the bike is going to shift on its own. Now, if the bike was to wheelie or spin, boom, 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 push your horn button, and it's going to shift the gears for you. Yeah, I know, that's super cool, right? So pretty much long swing arm, and boom, pin the throttle, slide the clutch just a little bit, and the bike's going to do the rest of the work on its own. This thing also has the Montgomery Racing headlight delete, Montgomery Motorsports carbon fiber front fender. We got carbon everything, as well as a full titanium pigtail exhaust system from HTP. That whole entire exhaust system only weighs 4 pounds. Yeah, it's insane, guys. This stock exhaust system over here on this bike weighs about 40 pounds. So we get rid of the duals. We get rid of the, I guess you would say, steel exhaust that's on this one. We go to a full titanium exhaust, is single out the side, and that's what was able to get this Busa to this Busa, or I guess you say we were able to lose 100 pounds of weight going from this one to this one. Now we're still 75 or 80 pounds heavier than our GSXR 1000. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed all the information, all the knowledge. Comment, let me know, which one are you picking? Are you a Busa guy or are you a leader bike guy? And if you win the giveaway, GSXR 1000 Busa, they both come with $5,000 in cash. Go hit up moremafia.com right now. Find out how you can win. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a minute of the action. We'll see you next time. All right, guys, here we go. It's time for the last giveaway of 2025, and this is our biggest one ever. This time, the winner, one winner, gets to choose between 2 different bikes, and $5,000 cash comes with each one of them. So whichever one you pick, you get the motorcycle and $5,000 cash. First up, we got a 2025 Hayabusa fully hooked up street bike that's ready to go to the drag strip and go fast. HTP titanium pigtail, long DME swing arm, carbon fiber Montgomery gas tank, carbon fiber seat, carbon fiber Montgomery headlight, carbon fiber BST wheels, you name it, this bike has got it, and all the Brock's Performance goodies go along with it to make the bike go fast at the track. You want it, you pick it, no problem. $5,000 cash comes with it. If you don't want the Busa, we got you a GSXR 1000. Check this one out. 2025 GSXR 1000. Lowered, stretched, perfect for street riding, roll racing, whatever you want to do with it. It's got everything you need. Full titanium Brock's Performance exhaust, DME swing arm, lowered, all the lightweight goodies. This thing is super light. We got tons of videos showing the builds on both bikes. Go scroll through the YouTube videos, check out the builds on them. All right, guys, now here's the trick. How do you get entered to win these bikes? All you got to do, go to moremafia.com, get yourself some merch, whether it be a hat, a sticker, a keychain, a hoodie, t-shirt, whatever you purchase off the website, it's going to get you the entries you need. You've been thinking about an ECU flash for your bike you already have? No problem. ECU flashes count for the giveaway as well. That's going to get you a bunch of points. Go check it out right now, moremafia.com. Pick out whatever you want. And just like always, our giveaways, no purchase necessary. If you don't want to purchase anything, mail us in an entry. You get one entry per thing you send in, and that's going to get you entered totally for free, guys. Good luck. Have a good day.